everyone, and welcome to Doodle Therapy, a drawing show here on Adobe Live. We're here today as part of a very special edition of the stream for Adobe Max Week. So yay! I'm so excited for Max. My name is Alice. I am an illustrator and as well as your host for Doodle Therapy. It's so great to see everyone in the chat again. Please feel free to say hi and introduce yourself. And also, please join me in welcoming our very special guest. Welcome, Cam, aka Baomii. Welcome. Yay!
Hi.
Yeah, it's so great to have you on the stream, and I'm really excited to draw with you today and chat with you about your story. But first, I just want to say welcome back to everyone on the stream. We have been on hiatus for the last month and a half, but we've come back today for a very special edition Adobe Max Week celebration. And so I just want to share in that excitement for Adobe Max. If you're joining us live, please feel free to introduce yourself, share your name, where you're joining us from, and we always have a random question of the day on the stream. So today, our random question is, what are you dressing up as Halloween this week? And if you're not dressing up for Halloween, what's a past favorite costume that you've dressed up for? Would love to hear. And Cam and I, when Cam introduces herself in just a second, we'll also share our answers for the random question of the day. And I also am really excited for Adobe Max, and I'd love to hear if there's any sessions that you all are excited to be joining today. I want to share the Adobe Max Community Live Lounge stream calendar for this week. So today's Monday, but tomorrow, Tuesday, kicks off Adobe Max, and a whole slate of Max themed streams from various first takes that'll share with you new features and aspects to these different design disciplines, as well as Meet the Max Speaker sessions. I'm personally really excited for Meet the Max Speaker with Aaron Draplin, as well as the illustration first take with Kathleen Martin, and that'll continue on to Wednesday. And you can see the full schedule here. And for those who aren't aware, Adobe Max is an awesome annual creative conference that Adobe holds. Normally it's in person, and you also have to pay like a ticket fee to enter. But this year, just like last year, it's actually really exciting. It's free and it's also virtual, so anyone can just sign up at max.adobe.com. You can check out your sessions. I'm actually speaking on Wednesday. My talk is called The Magic of Learning How to Draw, and I can share a little bit more about that later. So definitely check that out if you are wanting to get inspired. I've personally been so inspired by different Adobe Max talks throughout the years. So I'm psyched that it's free to the public this year. Cam, I'm gonna bring us over to share some of your beautiful work on the screen. Do you mind introducing yourself? Telling us a little bit about yourself, and also answering our random question of the day. And we've got some great responses as well in the chat about costumes.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for inviting me to the show, Alice. I'm super excited to do this live stream on Doodle Therapy with you. Hi, for everyone who doesn't know who I am Cam, that rhymed, aka Baomii, and I'm an illustrator and designer based in LA. And currently I am working on The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder at Disney TV. Yay!
Yay! Do you have plans to dress up for anything as Halloween this year? And if not, what was your favorite past costume?
Mm-hmm. My plans for Halloween. I don't have any plans for dressing up this year, but my favorite Halloween costume in the past was a couple costume. I did it together with my best friend, and we were the siblings, cute. Mabel and Dipper from Gravity Falls.
Oh, that's really cute. I love that. Yeah, I want to do a couple's costume. I don't think I've ever done that with anyone.
Yeah, it's always way more fun when you have like a friend or a partner to do it with. Like, there's so many cute ideas.
Yeah, I think my favorite costume has been, I was I dressed up as a Pokemon trainer last year, and I didn't do this for Halloween, but I dressed up as Rey from Star Wars for the Star Wars premiere.
Oh, nice.
And I'm pretty proud of that costume. It's quite elaborate. I want to say welcome into everyone who's joining us live. Welcome to our wonderful moderator, Cody, Lori, Jan, Sandrine, who says doodle, yes. Robert, Desiree, who says best day to start a Monday. I agree. Ija, Satterley, hello, Jessica, a doodle therapy, regular, Umacorn, some therapy in the background. Angela, who says they're super pumped for this around Max. Christina Young, welcome Christina. Monir, who's joining us from Algeria. And Steve, Daphne, there's so many amazing new faces in this stream. Daphne asks, where will the keynotes be? You can actually watch them all live at, and find out more information at max.adobe.com. Steve, Angela, so many awesome, Jake, so many awesome people. So welcome on in. And if you're joining us just now, please feel free to introduce yourself and share where you're joining us from. So today is really fun because in addition to being Max Week and we're celebrating creativity with each other, we are also going to be doodling some spooky spells in honor of spooky season. So Cam, do you mind letting us know a little bit about, what you're thinking about doodling today?
Yes, so I thought it would be cute to do a little witch summoning a familiar, and in this case, it's a bunny ghost. So yeah, just something cute and spooky for the Halloween season.
Yeah, I love it. So spooky. Do you have, when you create illustrations like this, do you usually have plans for where you want them to end up, or are you just going with the flow? Like, are you like, oh, maybe I'll make this into a print or a sticker or carve it into my pumpkin or something?
Oh, that's a good question. Sometimes I do have like the product idea in mind, but I think in this case, I was just like, oh, I'll just make an illustration. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's really cute. On my end, I am creating this snake illustration, and I just got a whole rug tufting setup in my room.
Ooh.
So I was thinking of creating a simple design that could be my first tufting project. And if anyone out there is a tufting expert, please feel free to say hi as well, because I'm very new to this hobby. And so as with, our doodle therapy streams, if you would like to draw along, please feel free to. We intentionally choose our topics so that they are accessible to everyone, regardless of your skill level. So if you'd like to create a spooky illustration, that could be anything from like charms, spells, witchy themes, or anything just related to Halloween in general, feel free to do so. And you can share it with us on our socials and we'll definitely see it. Normally doodle therapy is 2 days. So, we'd normally be able to see it on the second day, but since this is just a 1-day stream, just share it with us on socials and it will make our days afterwards. So please feel free to draw along. And also let me know if you have any Adobe Max questions. I'm really excited for the conference this week. And I was actually singing the Creative Cloud song earlier today, like the one that goes, shout
nice.
it aloud, gather around, Creative Cloud. That was a missed opportunity for tweeting about this earlier. I should have included that. So yeah, we're just gonna get started. But Cam, I was wondering, would you mind sharing a little bit about, your story and how you got to where you are today as an artist living in LA, also working in animation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I knew that I wanted to do art from a very young age, so that was never really a question. But then my parents, of course, weren't really on board, being that I think just in Asian culture, it's just more common for parents to want their kids to do something a little bit more STEM based or business. So yeah, I ended up applying to art schools on my own, and I Googled art schools in LA and discovered an art school called Otis College of Art and Design. And I applied there, and then they gave me a scholarship, and I went.
Ooh, okay. So you applied on your own. When you were growing up, did you feel compelled to not do art because your parents wanted you to do other stuff like STEM or business?
No, I was a bad kid.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
cool. Love that.
Yeah, this is the only thing that I like doing, so I'm just gonna keep doing that.
Kid. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, thanks for inspiring all the other bad kids out there who are following their artistic passions. I was not a bad kid, but I wish I was a little bit more of a bad kid.
Oh yes, I did read that you went to business school before you pursued art, right?
Yeah, so I didn't really think I was very creative growing up. Although looking back, I feel like I was like most kids, really into creative hobbies like crafting and music and all this stuff. But it's just like at some point in high school, it just got like stamped out of me, just like how I think a lot of teenagers are told, like, don't pursue art. It's not a practical choice. And I talk about this a little bit in my Adobe Max talk, but I ended up going to business school, which I also really enjoyed studying business, but it just wasn't a very creative environment. And then after I graduated, I happened upon the right environment that allowed me to pursue art. Like I got a job as a early product designer at a tech company that was still like pretty early days. And since it was like unstructured, that allowed me to have the opportunity to like experiment creatively. Whereas I think if you entered a more like typical corporate environment, you probably wouldn't be able to have that space. It would be more structured. So I got really lucky, and that's why I was able to follow my drawing journey, I guess. But I started a little bit later because of that. So I do wish I had rebelled a little bit more. And when I was younger. So thanks for holding it down for the bad art kids.
Well, I think you're doing amazing. And honestly, that's really inspiring to start a bit later, because I feel like a lot of kids, especially when you're younger, sometimes it's easy to feel like, oh, I know what I want, but everyone changes in the end. Like there are so many people that I think pursued like a specific major in school, but then ended up going a completely different route. So I think it's just, you found your calling and now you're here. And that's all that matters.
What was your experience like in art school? As someone who didn't go to art school, I'm always very curious to hear about this.
I think for me personally, I wanted to drop out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a really great time, especially my freshman year, learning like the fundamentals and meeting a lot of new friends. But then I think past freshman year, I just kind of felt like a lot of the things that I was learning at the time, I could have just learned elsewhere, or there were better courses outside of my school for the things that I wanted to learn. Because I had some great teachers regardless, and there were some great classes that I took, but I think overall the courses for like digital skills were kind of limited, as well as like learning more production pipeline stuff for maybe TV animation. There wasn't really a very cohesive track for that. So I feel like a lot of people's portfolios were a bit lacking by senior year, whereas if you go to some place like Art Center, that's a very entertainment track-based school. So a lot of teachers there are very much industry veterans that work at Disney, they work at Universal, et cetera, et cetera. So they know exactly what to help you create in order to get a job. Yeah.
Interesting. I never thought about it in terms of like specializations, but that makes so much sense. And to answer Angela Bardwell's question, we're both using Photoshop. I'm actually on a tablet that's connected to my computer, so that's why I'm looking down at the cameras right here. And I think Cam has a similar setup as well. Yes. Thanks, Cody. I am using a Wacom Cintiq. Here's my pen. But I also like using iPad as well. It's just that I didn't have it set up. I prefer to have this set up for stream. And if you have any questions about our setup, what brushes we're using, or how we set up our Photoshop document, please feel free to ask. I can share, what I'm also using. So actually right now I'm using one of Kyle's brushes. I think I'm using this ink brush right now. And I'm just trying to ink in the shapes of my snake for this rug. Since when you tuft, you can't really get like blends. It's just you tuft like a full color. So I just really want to get the shapes down. And I'm trying to keep these shapes also larger than, like, not super detailed, because I think that is very difficult to show up when you are tufting with yarn. So yeah, that's kind of my setup. Oh, Jake, Jake, if you have any questions about our setup, please feel free to ask. We are both using Photoshop, and we're both on our computers. And to answer your question, Angela, tufting is like if you imagine a rug, that's how people create rugs. It's like they take a long piece of yarn and they like tuft it. It's like a form of weaving, basically, weaving in the yarn. So Cam, how you were talking about your experiences in school and how that like specialization was harder to find for you. So how did you end up learning the skills that you needed to learn and like growing as an artist and like getting to where you are today as someone who's working in the industry, if that structure if it was a little bit unstructured, like in your school environment?
Well, I completely scrapped everything I made in my portfolio and I started over, which is something that is pretty common with a lot of students who went to art schools that weren't necessarily as entertainment track inclined. So yeah, it's a pretty common thing that happens.
I see.
But yeah, and aside from that, I was working in the advertising/motion industry for a while. And I feel like that actually helped prep me in a lot of ways because of the different styles that you have to work in and the really quick turnarounds. Yeah, so working in commercials, I think, really helped me improve my work. Develop new stuff.
Yeah. When you were going through that, how did you like nurture your creative confidence and your like mental health? Because I feel like whenever I've gone through creative transitions where I was trying to work towards something else and like kind of like in training mode where I was in the environment that I was in, sometimes I would find it hard motivation wise to like keep my eye on the prize, if it's like a bit further away. So like, how did you manage to like hold that all together?
That's really a good question. I think for a while I kind of had to focus on other things and just not obsess too much. And then I think it was also accepting like, oh, well, you know what? I'm not good enough at this point in time, and being more critical rather than coddling. Because I think it's very easy to be like, oh, I don't understand why people aren't hiring me and so and such. And like, I think sometimes it's good to just be more critical and be like, you know what, maybe I'm just not good enough and I need to keep working at this. And it'll take a little longer, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of helped me continue on without getting too discouraged.
Yeah, I like that. Very strong approach. Creative confidence is something that we talk a lot about on the stream. And I really like your perspective on it, which is just like, it's a long game and you're just not there right now, but doesn't mean you should stop. Thanks for the great questions, Jake. So basically, and you're right, we should have totally explained before diving in so quickly. So basically, I have a sketch layer here, which is just the pencil, a black and white sketch layer. And then I've put the opacity down to like 20% for that. And then now I'm starting to block in the shapes underneath. So I don't think that this will be my final color since I have to match it to yarn, but I just want to get the shapes down and then I can start to mess around with the composition and turn off the sketch layer, and then I can kind of just see it for the shape that it is. Cam, do you mind kind of sharing what you're up to as well in your process?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So I also have my sketch layer. It's on pass through, which I guess is kind of like the same as multiply. And then I sort of block in the shapes and fill in the color just to start the color blocking process. And then after that, I might add like little details like the shadows or the face.
Love it. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just like piece by piece, you're stacking everything.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
Something very important is clipping layers.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I feel like a lot of people forget about clipping layers. And that was something that I didn't learn till later on. And I was like, oh, there are clipping layers in Photoshop. Clipping layers are layers that you can clip or just attach to the shape that you make. So everything is contained within that shape. So like this bunny here, I have like a slight shadow, but basically to make it more obvious, if I were to do something like the inner ear, it's not going to come out. Whereas if you have a clipping layer or if you have a regular layer, it's just going to go all over the place. So clipping layers are very helpful. Let me
super helpful.
Switch over my layers over here so people can see that. I don't know. It's not going to show up.
Here's another demo. Like I'm drawing this, the top of the snake's head, and you can see I drew it a little bit over the boundary, but if I clip it, then this part gets clipped. So that's unclipped. And you can do that by going into your layers panel and then right clicking on the layer and then hitting clipping mask, create clipping mask. Daphne asks, is there a specific reason that we like to use Photoshop for these types of sketches? That's a good question. I just think I like Photoshop because it's very powerful. I'm always like learning new features in Photoshop. Like I just learned the symmetry feature. I didn't know there was symmetry, like where you create a line and then anything you draw on the other side will show up. So it's just so powerful, and I feel like I'm always like learning new things about it. And I do like drawing on my iPad as well, but there are some limitations. Like I just think with the computing, my iPad sometimes will like overheat and it gets like flustered because I have too many layers. So to keep it simple, I just stick with desktop and Photoshop. But what about yourself, Cam?
I think Photoshop just has everything that you need. There's just so many tools, and you can make just a lot more adjustments in editing when it comes to the final touches of a piece, whereas other apps on the iPad sort of have limitations with layers, file size, and also just color adjustments and things like that. So in the end, I always end up moving my files to Photoshop anyway to finish them.
Yeah, same. Sometimes I'll like start in Photoshop, and then if I want to like work while I'm in bed or something, I will just transfer it over to my iPad, draw a little bit, and then I'll just copy those layers over to Photoshop. So yeah, and like Cody says, it's usually personal preference. Yes. So Cam, I want to also shout out your amazing shop. So I'm gonna head back over here to your art view. But Cam has a Patreon and a shop that you guys should check out. There's a lot of like really beautiful stickers and jewelry. And in particular, I really love Cam's Chinese knot earrings. My friend Amy saw them last year, and like you're releasing the Chinese knot earrings like single-handedly inspired my group of girlfriends to spend our entire like trip to Tahoe just like making earrings together, making Chinese knot earrings together. So thank you for
That's so awesome.
Wonderful inspiration, and definitely check her out there. And thanks to Cody for putting the website in the chat. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. It's very old. I need to update it. I feel like everyone has that struggle.
Yes.
The once a year update.
Yes. Doing doodle therapy has forced me to update my website more because I put the schedule on it. So I'll like log in, multiple times a month now, as opposed to like the once a year cadence. Oh, Desiree says that being a patron of Cam's, on your Patreon has been the best. So much cute stuff in my mail to look forward to. How wonderful.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Desiree.
Yeah.
Thank you for popping by.
Yay.
Have you ever finished a whole piece while working on a doodle therapy stream?
I've never finished a piece on the stream, but I finished one after the stream. But I usually would have to spend a few more hours on the stream. Yes, it is a little challenging, I think, to finish something so quickly. I don't know. I'm curious if you're watching this live, like how long does it usually take you to start from finish, create a your average piece of art? For me, it's usually much longer than 2 hours, maybe 10 hours, like minimum.
Yeah, I think for me, that's a good question. I think it depends. It honestly depends. Sometimes it could be a few hours. Sometimes it could be almost 20 hours. It depends on how much there is to do.
Yeah, totally.
But I really envy people that can finish stuff really quickly. I think I'm definitely more on the slower side.
Yeah, I think that it's like weird. I don't know who tweeted this. I saw a tweet a while ago that was like, art gets harder the more you do it.
Oh yes, that was a tweet by Kevin Hong.
Oh, was that him? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was really funny. Oh my gosh.
And it's like, I think it's true. Like drawing the same thing over time will get easier, of course, right? Like if you draw like a circle on day like 1,000, it'll be easier than doing it on day 1. But like, I also think when you spend more time drawing, then you like push yourself more and you want to create like more ambitious things. And so in that way, it gets like way harder. So I feel like before, when I was younger, I would just be like, yeah, I'm done. And then now I'm like, nope, I want to fix all these things. And then it just takes a while. Cody says, I wish I were faster. Yes. Cody says 5 to 10 hours probably. Sandrine asks,
pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, like in a day. I like to get like one sleep in between like starting something and finishing it, ideally. Sandrine says, I struggle with letting go. How do you know when to let go of a piece? That's a really good question. And Tara Hi, Tara. Says, too long. I feel like art is never finished. Yeah, these are great foods for thought. I think, so I used to have this problem in high school journalism when I was part of the school newspaper, and I would always just be like editing my articles and I would never want to like finish it. There's always something to like, tighten up. And then my advisor said, you never finish, you just publish, which that really resonated with me. It's like you could spend forever perfecting something, but for those of us who are creating work for audiences, like if you're a journalist writing for your readers, or if you're an artist creating something visually, sometimes it's just like when you publish, like when your thing ships. So it could just be whenever you decide, I guess.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I feel like it goes along the lines of like, sometimes you just gotta commit and then call it quits.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
I also get really inspired when I hang out with other art friends and, I see their process, and it kind of helps take me out of my own head a little bit of like, oh, I'm definitely overthinking this. So if that helps, maybe you could take a step back, hang out with some friends. And then when you come back to your piece, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm like totally, spiraling on these like random parts of it. It looks pretty good. So yeah. Oh, Daphne says, I'm almost done with my sketch. Oh, but she says that listening to us is very calming and she's working in fresco. Thanks, Daphne. Glad to hear it.
Oh, nice. I just tried fresco the other day, actually. It was really nice. I don't know how finished of a piece I'd be able to make, because what I made was like this really quick doodle.
I saw
really
that.
Liked their I really like their oil paint brushes. I think that there's something definitely fun to explore there, like doing something more painterly.
Yes, it's very unique, I feel. It's like such an iPad thing to have the live brush technology. Jake also says he likes to step back and come back after a while, or take a look at their piece when they're in bed before they sleep, when they're relaxed. Let's see. And Lucas says, in architecture, we have a feeling of never being finished, but sometimes we have to let go or won't be done. I totally understand that. Yeah. Like sometimes you just have to ship it, and or you could share your work with someone else, like a friend. And then sometimes I'll be like, do you think I should, change the background to green? Like, do I need to fix this part? And they're like, no, this looks great, And then that kind of encouragement. Miguel says, what do you do to relax if your drawing is not quite like how you want it? That's a good question. For me, excuse me, I take a step back. I take a break, first of all, work on other things. I actually lately have been doing a lot of like various art crafts. Like my friend and I have been doing this ceramics project where we're like painting these planters. Or I want to get into.
You should show them.
Oh yeah, we're making these Animal Crossing planters. They're not for sale, but it's with my friend Amy, whose name is Sailor HG. So this is Kid Cat, which is like a race car cat. And we've got little leaf here. But I find that switching mediums sometimes can be very helpful, and it helps you get out of your head a little bit when it comes to, if you're only working on your computer and kind of like tunnel vision, about certain things. So yes, hope that's helpful. And just Christina says Discord co-working when you don't have local creative friends. Yeah, totally. Jake says, Baomii, your artwork looks almost like a self-portrait. It's very cute. Oh yes, it totally does. Super cute.
Yeah. Just drawing pink-haired girls. I actually used to never draw color hair characters for a long time. And it was because I gave myself this really idiotic rule, and I was like, I should just make them all have natural hair colors, because if I make them have like pink hair or like pastel hair, that's too anime, and I'm not supposed to be drawing anime,
Oh, that's like a myth that like old teachers tell us in art class. I actually have a question, Cam. So you mentioned that you were in art school and it wasn't like a dedicated entertainment or like animation track, but you kind of sought those things out for yourself. How did you create that? Like, it's almost like you had to create a curriculum for yourself, and you have to like find people who can give you feedback and guide you. It could be as hands-on as a teacher or as lightly as, just a friend being like, looks good, or that looks weird, just stuff like that. Like, how did you create that community and structure for yourself when you were in a less structured program around animation?
Right. I think for me, I didn't exactly have that support group specifically, but what helped me was sort of getting outside the bubble of art school and posting my work on social media. I actually think that starting my Twitter was maybe the best thing I had ever done, because it allowed me to meet a lot of new artists that were around my age, who were my peers, and a lot of them happened to be from Sheridan Animation, which is a Canadian animation school. So I felt really inspired looking at the work that they were creating. And I was like, oh, animation, that definitely seems like a really cool and fun path. But I hadn't really considered it until later on. I think the summer of my junior year, where I watched Gravity Falls, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. This is amazing. I want to work in animation.
Ooh.
But yeah, I was very inspired by my peers online, and I think being on social media helped push me to improve my art, because I was like, oh my God, the things that these people are making are just incredible, and I want to make things like them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. One question that I get a lot on this stream is people feeling really shy about sharing their work. So when you were just starting out, like, how did you go about that? Like, did you just share stuff? Were you shy at first? Like, how did you approach that?
I think I was hard to say. I think I sketched so often during that time period that I would just try to post as much as I could. But in general, looking back, I don't like anything that I was posting at the time. I think you just have to be brave, It's okay if stuff isn't perfect, You're just learning. A lot of the stuff that I made back then, I don't ever want to look at. But every time you post, you sort of learn more about, like, what do you want to be making? And you get closer to that vision and that style that you're looking for.
Yeah. Did you ever, when you were younger, have to balance like sharing your work but not letting likes and like the social media response influence how you thought about or valued your work, especially because you were coming at it from like a self-driven background, as opposed to like you went to art school, or you were in an animation program where like the teacher was telling you like, this is good, this is bad. Like how did you resist the trap of social media telling you like, this is good, this is bad, because you got like a lot of likes or something?
Oh, that's a good point. I think it's really hard to avoid that. to be honest.
Yeah.
I think anyone
I think it's hard when you're young.
Is definitely, you're definitely going to get entrapped by that and swallowed up for a little bit, you know. But that's okay. It happens. I think at the end of the day, you just have to realize, like, what is it that you really want to make? If no one was looking, what would you be making?
Yeah, I love that.
That's important to hold close to your heart.
Yes. Daphne asks a really interesting question. Basically, how do you get started with Twitter if you're just opening an account there and you're trying to find artists? So I have a couple of quick thoughts. One, this is like a new thing, I feel. Either that or I've just been like severely out of the loop for many years. But there are these like awesome art hashtags now. Sometimes I don't know who is creating these art. I wish there was a calendar because I always like get in on them like 2 days later. But for example, there was a hashtag that was like hashtag blue art. So it's like people were just sharing their art that's like blue. Or sometimes there's hashtags like portfolio day. People will just share their anything in their portfolio. Or sometimes I saw one recently that was like Southeast Asian artists of Twitter. And the hashtags are actually like a really powerful way to find new artists to follow if you're interested in their work and get inspired by people and also share your stuff too. So that's a really cool way to look. Another way is just like thinking about the artists that you already really like following. It could be on other platforms like Instagram or IRL even, like maybe you saw their work in a museum. And then sometimes I feel like people like retweet a lot people's artwork that they like. So sometimes that could introduce you to more interesting artists on Twitter to follow. And then over time, you'll just kind of naturally create like a nice little community of art friends, artists whose work inspire you.
Yeah, definitely agree with everything that you said there. The hashtags are really powerful. I feel like I always find so many new artists that way. And I think there actually is a calendar.
Is there? Oh my God.
Because I'm always like, who organized it.
I'm always like, how does everyone know that it's like Pink Art Day? You know, I have so many pink art contributions, but I'm finding out a week later, so it's a little late.
Oh, I wish there was a way to search. I don't remember what they were called.
Yes, Daphne, hashtags are very powerful. Yeah, they do have many powers. So it's pretty cool. I guess like the platforms, Instagram and Twitter especially, have really evolved what hashtags used to be. Jake asks, how do I switch between the paintbrush and what I'm assuming is the eraser? And how do you combine your lasso tool when drawing? That's a great question. So for paintbrush, I'm hitting B, and then for eraser, I'm hitting E. You can also easily find these. Oh, I guess you can't see it. But you can also easily find the shortcut if you like long tap into each button that you want to hit. So like you can see brush tools is B. So if you hit B, for lasso, it's L. And then you can like lasso things and then like move it around and merge them if you so wish. So I hope that helps. Yes, I am using shortcuts. I feel like my left hand is like just as active as my right hand when I'm creating this. Oh, and thanks to Christina for sharing what appears to be a calendar. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Oh, yes. There's also another one. I follow this one called Online Organizers Collective at OOC Collective. I'm not sure how to add that to the chat. But yeah, it's also on Twitter, and they have a Airtable that marks a lot of the social media events that happen, specific to Twitter, I believe. Yeah,
thank you so much, Christina, for sharing the link. Yeah, Robert says the only way to learn is by your mistakes and take it positively. And yeah, I agree. Like sometimes you just learn by making mistakes or just learning from them. And that's a very powerful thing. So we've got about 10 minutes left in our stream. So I want to just also add that Adobe Max, if you are just coming into the stream, the later half is going on this week. It's really exciting that we're celebrating Max. I'm going to throw the schedule for Adobe Live, the Adobe Live streams this week up onto the screen again. So you can see this is a little different from our usual Adobe Live calendar. This week it's all about celebrating Adobe Max. So we've got a couple of Meet the Max speakers where we get to have in-depth conversations with different speakers who are a part of Max, as well as first takes at different creative disciplines like photography and illustration, and that will continue on into Wednesday. Adobe Max is going on this week, and it's free to everyone. It is totally accessible as long as you have a computer and an internet connection. You can register for it at max.adobe.com. I'm also going to be speaking at Max. My session is on Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's called, The Magic of Learning How to Draw. And I just talk about my journey in learning how to draw, what drawing has taught me, about how to see the world, and also about just connecting with myself. And I share a little bit about my journey that we've talked a little bit about today, where I felt like I was really turned away from doing anything artistic when I was growing up because I was told this is not a practical or good path to follow, which ended up being kind of a myth. And how I think a lot of people are turned away from creativity and drawing in particular. But actually, if you just pick up a pencil or whatever drawing tool that you have around you, you can just start today. And it's actually a very beautiful and life-changing journey that learning how to draw has brought me. And I think that it can bring to everyone else as well. So, thanks to Cody and Jeffrey for sharing the link in the chat. That is how to find it. So yes, it is not a technical talk, but I hope to provide you with a framework on how to break through initial hesitations around drawing and build a self-directed curriculum for just getting started with drawing, having fun. So yes, that's my little spiel. Thanks for listening.
I mean, it sounds amazing. I'm excited to check it out. I haven't actually hopped in on any of the Adobe Max events, so I'm really excited to try it out this year.
Yes, I'm really excited for Frankie Sihi, who's also been on Doodle Therapy. She's based in Japan. She is doing a how to create digital murals talk. And then, and then also Lauren Hom, who's also, she's also been on the stream. These are just all my friends. She's giving a talk about different avenues that artists can pursue in order to monetize their craft in different ways. So she, for example, has taught a class. You could do a Patreon. So she goes in depth into I think 3 avenues that she recommends people check out. And also Lauren's talks have been really inspiring to me over the years. She gave a talk a few years ago about, it's called how to create a serious career out of silly projects or something like that. Like how to build a serious career off of silly work. And I thought that was really inspiring. And I'm really excited for her talk as well. So those are my favorites, definitely. Awesome. Yeah. It's really inspiring. And definitely check those out. Daphne says, yes, I believe that some of the sessions will eventually be, what is it called? Closed captioned, like when it's translated. So you can definitely experience it there. Jake wants to know where you can find the digital mural session. So you can find all of that on max.adobe.com. And then when you just click on the sessions link, which is in the top bar, and then you'll get to like a catalog, and then you can just search for any topic that you're interested in, like murals, or if you want to find a specific speaker, you can search Frankie or Sihi, or if you just want to browse, you can just look at the illustration track or design track. It's pretty cool. Oh, and thanks to Cody for sharing the link. Yay! So we've just got about 5 minutes left in our stream. So I want to say thanks to everyone who is joining us live. If this is your first time watching Doodle Therapy, you'll know that you might not know that we were a show here on Adobe live for like a year and a half, and then we went on hiatus a month ago. So this stream is kind of like a one-time special edition Max celebration stream with our friend Cam. And coming up next will be the wonderful Voodoo Val, who is coming back with her Adobe Live game show. So you'll definitely want to stick around for that.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And
yeah,
thank you so much again for inviting me to this. It was really, really cool. I haven't drawn live in a really long time. This is my second time doing it. And
ooh, what was the first time?
Amazing host. The first
nice.
time I tried Twitch, and it was very nerve-wracking. I had my webcam on and I was like, oh no, this is terrifying. People are gonna watch me draw. And it was okay. It wasn't too bad, but I think I was very, very shy. And it helps to not be the only person in the room. So thank you so much for being chatty and having such wonderful questions.
Oh, thanks for answering them. Yeah, you had such insightful responses and perspectives. Oh, and thanks to everyone who says they missed Doodle Therapy. I missed you guys too. I will be putting up Cam's this replay on the Doodle Therapy website, which is byalicelee.com/doodle-therapy. That's where you can find all of the past replays with all of our guests. And Cam, do you mind sharing with us how people can find you on the internets and keep in touch, and even share if they created a spooky illustration with both of us?
Oh yeah, sure. You can find me on social media at Twitter or Instagram at _Baomii, Baomii, like Bao, the food, and me, like Nintendo me.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, feel free to tag either me or Alice if you made a sketch from this session. I'd love to see what you guys made.
It always makes my day when I see people's doodles. So yeah, feel free to tag me. I'm at @byalicelee on Behance, Twitter, and Instagram. You know, Cam and I were talking about this beforehand. Do you call it Behance or is it Behance? Like enhance? Would love to know what the official stance is on Behance.
Yes, we both said we thought it was pronounced Behance because that's how I've heard a lot of people say it.
Yes. It's kind of like how Wacom tablets, people say Wacom or Wacom. I've heard official like Wacom employees call it Wacom. So I'll just go with that. But, you know, also curious if anyone knows the official answer. Would love to know. So yeah, we are coming to the end of our stream. Ooh, I love what you created, Cam. Thanks for sharing a little bit of your process, your story today. Love to see these spooky illustrations. Please, definitely check out Cam's amazing work, her website, shop, Twitters, and Yeah, it's been great to be back on Doodle Therapy this week for our special one-time edition. Feel free to ping us if you have any questions. If you're not watching this live, I'll be happy to answer. And be sure to stick around for Voodoo Val coming up next. She will be hosting the Adobe Live Game Show, as well as a whole slate of exciting Adobe Max live streams, and of course, the conference this week. So yeah, Cam, thanks so much for joining us. It was great to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure to be on Doodle Therapy.
Yeah, and I love your witch's hat as well. So yeah. Have a great day, everyone, and stay tuned for the rest of the lineup today. Bye.
Bye.